2 weeks from today, voters in the machine-dominated state of Pennsylvania will take to the polls. We're at halftime, but at halftime, things are released that campaigns don't want us to know. They don't want us to know. The question here is, are Pennsylvanians tired of the special interest old politics that makes the place easy pickings for lobbyists and nefarious contractors, including its governor? It's not an urban myth. Dogs are attracted to hydrants. After browsing hundreds of pages of Clinton tax documents, one comes away from the experience that there's always a fire hydrant around in the Clintons' life. It may be picayune to focus on the $3.3 million paid Mr. Clinton by InfoUSA, or the $15 million paid the president to vouch for UCAPA chairman Mr. Burkell. We're not sure. Or was it just, Bill, my friend, I'm going to give you $15 million because you're my friend. President Clinton should reveal any billing logs kept for the client subject to public release. If Mr. Clinton acted as a member of the K Street mob, he's under legal obligation to file a lobby disclosure statement. Here's another one of those damn pesky fire hydrants. InfoUSA is involved in an investigation for selling mailing lists of elderly Americans to criminals. In response, the company released a statement saying, quote, while InfoUSA cannot manage what clients do with the publicly available information, the company has a strict policy about not selling data to companies who act illegally. What do? Ask the client before they turn over the list. Are you a stack of criminals that we're selling this list to? Are you on the verge of being indicted? Are you under investigation? We're not sure what advice Mr. Clinton gave, but it must have been fabulous. The former president also took in $3.3 million in consulting fees from InfoUSA CEO Vinod Gupta, who's also helped fund Mrs. Clinton's White House bid. There are not opportunities that fall into every American's lap. The Clintons have made liberal use of the charitable deduction, claiming $10.2 million in charitable giving over the last 8 years. Intriguingly, nearly all the donations went to the Clinton Family Foundation, which has dispersed only half the money. The Clintons can thus use the foundation for strategic giving, and it has, such as a $100,000 donation last year to a local South Carolina library, the day after Mrs. Clinton debated in that key primary state. There are other examples of such politically targeted philanthropy, and it's worth noting that most of the foundation's disbursements came only after Mrs. Clinton announced her presidential run. The donors to the Clinton Library and Foundation should be made public. So too should a list of recipients of Clinton contributions. The Clintons probably are making contributions to foundations which have 501c4 components. This loophole allows nonprofits to spend 20% of its budget on issue advocacy. The Clintons may be learning from their new friend, Richard Mellon Scaife. Members of many nonprofits become political activists during election campaigns. Contributions are a good way to rattle the trees. So-called community-based organizations, based on the ACORN model, for example, is a way to turn a 501c3 into a political machine. There are others. William Jefferson Clinton's foundation, for which the couple has so far refused to release a list of donors, because such a list contains more than the likes of Canadian mining tycoon Frank Goulstra, who took Mr. Clinton along on a trip to Kazakhstan as a character reference, won a Cossack mining concession, and gave more than $30 million to the foundation. The Clintons have an obligation to let the voters see who their foundation donors are. Governor Ed Rendell mentioned that the charitable work of the Clinton Foundation is responsible for the cure of 1.4 million Africans infected with AIDS. The Clinton campaign released the tax returns on Friday afternoon. just enough time for reporters to file a precursory reportage on Saturday, the least read paper of the week. After announcing that the Clintons are among the richest 14,500 Americans, their message spun right into charitable contributions that the mainstream press bought hook, line, and sinker. Sunday on Meet the Press, Governor Ed Rendell kept pushing the charitable aspect of the story and the 1.4 million Africans cured of AIDS. So eleemosynary was the message. Why do I still think there are fire hydrants? This is Joe Garcia, and the site is reform.squarespace.com, reform.squarespace.com. The email address is 2008reform@gmail.com. Stay interested. This is the time when the secrets come out. Stay interested. Thank you. And have a good morning.